I'm joined by Pat Allin, the former co-founder and CEO of Textura. Pat, I cannot tell you how exciting it is to have you in our studio. Thank you for joining us today.
Nice to be here, Alexis.
Of course, well, we're happy to have you. Before we get started in any of the tough questions, I guess, will you just tell us a little bit about who you are and what your experience is in the construction tech industry?
Early in my career was a partner at Price Waterhouse in the audit practice. I then worked in industry for about 8 years in various financial and leadership roles. Went back to Price Waterhouse as a consulting partner here in Chicago, and 3 of former partners at Price Waterhouse formed a group to really look at providing technology in the construction industry.
What made you interested to get in the business to begin with?
One of the 3 founders had this idea to do something in construction, so it wasn't my idea per se. The more though, we spent about 9 or 10 months really talking to people in the industry and really trying to figure out whether there was a business opportunity or not. And the more we learned about the industry and the more we dealt with people, the more we liked it. And you know, it's been actually the learning curve still goes on, but you know, it's been a really fun industry to try to play a role in and try to create some value. And so that's how it all started.
So you founded Textura in 2004, is that correct?
That's right.
What was it like, or what is the startup scene? What was it like then, and how has it changed to what it is now?
Well, you know, the startup we started at the beginning of September 2004. It was 3 people and 800 square feet. It was not very nice space. And I was the only founder who really started with the company. So I had come from an organization where I was running a group of 35,000 people to 3 of us. And you know, I really enjoyed it. You had to do everything. And you know, today Textura is about 670 people in a gorgeous 63,000 square foot building on Lake Cook Road. So you know, one of the things you learn when you create and grow a business is that everything changes so quickly. But that's a big part of the fun.
When you did found Textura, did you feel as though you had got into the industry sooner than maybe other people had?
It felt like a real challenge. And the solution that we created, which was all around invoicing and legal documents and compliance and payments, no one else was doing it at the time, and quite frankly, no one's doing it today either. And we had this expression, you know, we found out after we formed the business and we started working with clients, we found out it was a lot more complicated than we ever thought. And I kept saying, complicated, well, that's really good. That'll make it difficult for others to do what we're doing. And it was just a way of kind of dealing with this increasing complexity that we really hadn't anticipated. You know, it took a long time to get our first clients, but as technology evolved, as other software players started delivering solutions over the internet, it became easier and easier. And we might have been a bit early, but you know, it all worked out pretty well. So
I would say so, for sure. We'll definitely be talking about that. But you kind of touched on it a little bit, but what was it like starting up? I mean, was it a quick line to success, or were there obstacles along the way?
No, I think it was probably 2 years before we had our first paying client. I mean, it was a big ask. It's a really big deal to go to a company and say, look, this is what our technology can do for you. And so it took a while.
Yeah. Well, fast forwarding up to 2013, I know that was a huge year for you guys. I think you acquired Latista and also PlanSwift, and I think that was also the year you guys went public, and then there were some unfavorable, you know, accusations going around. Like, as the CEO and co-founder, what was it like dealing with all of that in like a span of a year?
In the space of, you know, the life of Textura, which is about 12 years, you know, you become successful because you're very good at overcoming issues and challenges. And as a public company, there were just different issues and challenges. And, you know, some of it was pretty frustrating to hear people say very negative things about the company, et cetera. But on the other hand, you know, we had a company that was worth $600 or $700 million, and clearly our clients saw great value in what we were doing. And we have this reputation of providing great services to our clients. So, the fundamentals of the business didn't change.
Well, I'm glad you brought up that little figure that you guys are worth, because you were bought out, by Oracle for $600+ million. Right. Did you ever imagine that, when you first started in, the beginning of it, did you ever imagine that it would get to be like a $500 million+ dollar company?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
We did we think it could happen? Sure. It was probably 8 or 9 years into the business, and maybe about 2 years before we IPO'd, that I kind of thought it could be worth that and a lot more, actually. Yes. But when you start a business and you're an entrepreneur, you simply have to have that vision and that passion.
What does an acquisition like that say to other companies playing in the same, like SaaS, within the construction industry? What does that say to them?
Well, I think because of Textura's experience of starting a business and it being worth so much money, and going out and acquiring other assets to add to the platform, I think it's attracted a lot more money to the industry. A lot of people that have created solutions where they're trying to kind of replicate our success. So I think we've really made the capital markets and the private equity groups aware of this industry and the potential to create solutions and have it be very, very successful.
So I want to go back to talking about your particular acquisition. What was it like leading up to, to Oracle taking over Textura? Like, what was the situation like? Was it kind of something that had been in the mix, or how did that all go down?
Well, it's probably not something I wanted to do, because I thought that the company had a long way to go. Others, the board, had a different view, and when you go public and I didn't own 51% of the shares, you've got a shareholder group represented by the directors that get to make decisions. So, there was an exercise carried out to sort of assess what the value of the company might be to a third party, and ultimately Oracle came into the conversation, and the board decided that the offer was a good offer and sold the company.
Well, since that did happen or at least it was announced about 6 months ago, what have you been up to since then?
Well, I am now executive chairman of a company called Greensill Capital. They're based in London, and I'm chairman of the North American company, and they're supply chain finance specialists. And I had done a partnership with them when I was at Textura, and the partnership was that to provide for subcontractors, once their invoices were approved by general contractors, an opportunity to get paid immediately versus the 30, 45, 60 days later that typically happens on a construction project. Supply chain finance is a very growing part of the capital markets.
If you had any advice for people trying to start up a company right now, whether it be within the construction tech industry or just in general, what would that be?
If you have a really good idea and it's an idea that might resonate in the market and create value for a consumer or a company, do it. The worst that can happen is you'll find out that you either aren't good at it or it wasn't a great idea. I would caution that it's hard. The statistics, and we actually had a quant from the University of Chicago that worked for us, and we ran some numbers, and we think that to start a company and get to the market cap that Textura got to is roughly 1 in 25 to 30,000. So it doesn't happen very often. It's certainly worth doing. If you can do it and be successful, there's lots of rewards of doing it well. Financial rewards, but a lot of other rewards as well.
Best of luck with whatever does come your way next. And I, again, want to just thank you for being on our show today. It's been
thank
great.
you.
Yeah,
it's
of
fun.
course. It's been great.
Yeah.
And thank you all for tuning in to this episode of Venture. We look forward to seeing you guys next time.